So shortly before his meeting with President Xi Jinping, President Trump announced the United States will resume testing nuclear weapons. In a social media post, Trump wrote that he has ordered the Pentagon to resume testing on an equal basis with Russia and China. The U.S. conducted its last nuclear weapons test in 1992. Former President George H.W. Bush signed a moratorium on testing that year. Here's what the president said on Air Force One overnight when asked about his social media post.
We have more nuclear weapons than anybody. We don't do testing. We've halted it many years ago. But with others doing testing, I think it's appropriate that we do also.
Any details around the testing, sir? Like where, when?
It'll be announced. We have test sites. It'll be announced.
As the New York Times reports, some nuclear scientists were quick to point out Trump announced testing on an equal basis with other countries. That would mean testing delivery systems, which is all Russia has done, and not warheads. One expert notes it would take the U.S. a considerable amount of time to conduct a nuclear test.
So David Ignatius, the president, then in the follow-up questions was asked, are you talking about China here? And he said effectively, it has to do with others. They all seem to be testing. In his words, China is developing nuclear weapons, not testing them, I guess, as far as we know. But who is this aimed at, as you read between the lines?
My guess is it's aimed principally at Russia. Russia is making significant new announcements about strategic weapons. A weapon that can cause a tsunami was the latest thing the Russians announced. Russians are big into intimidation with announcing nuclear weapons-related projects, and Trump hasn't been shy about coming back. Talking about the U.S. is going to reposition its nuclear subs if Russia seems to be threatening, and there may be some of that in this announcement. One thing that's interesting about Donald Trump is that from the earliest days in politics, he's been interested in nuclear weapons limitation. So the idea that he could somehow draw China and Russia into a discussion about nuclear issues next year, I don't think is far-fetched. I think that would be an ambition for him. But as to today's announcement, I do see them mainly focused on Russia.
And Richard, of course, the timing was before he went into the summit with Xi. At the same time, though, there was a response to what Vladimir Putin just said a few days ago about nuclear testing.
Yeah, a couple of things going on here. One is China has the fastest growing nuclear arsenal in the world. And that's an important thing. The Chinese look at Ukraine, interestingly enough, and they say, hey, the Americans didn't help Ukraine directly. They sent them arms. They didn't send troops. That's a model potentially for crisis over Taiwan. Why didn't the Americans go into Ukraine? It's because of Russia's nuclear arsenal. So China is intent on growing its arsenal as fast as it can, not testing, though, just growing it. Russia's building more delivery systems. Plus, the U.S.-Russian nuclear arms control agreements. Basically, the current one, the New START agreement, ends in a few months. We have to have massive negotiations with Russia. I also see this aimed at that. So it's basically pushing back on Putin, saying, if you won't agree to have serious nuclear arms control talks, we have options ourselves.